What's up, everybody? It's Dave, and today I have a lot to talk to you about on my show, so I'm so glad that you guys are here. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, tap the bell, turn on the notifications, or you may never see me again, because that's the way the algorithms work. If you don't engage in the content you like, you don't see it anymore. So if you want to keep seeing the Grimster, please hit that like. Even better, share the video with your friends, because we're going to talk today about Maven talking about me. Maven Huffman was, a former WWE superstar. He was one of the biggest, things to come out of Tough Enough. But, he was never, an actual big star in wrestling. He was more like a jobber. I think the most notable thing Maven has ever done in his career was dropkick The Undertaker out of the Royal Rumble, right? And that's not to crap on Maven. I'm not here to, tear the guy down or anything. Because guess what? He's back 10-ass years later with his huge-ass YouTube channel. And it's been doing numbers. A couple months ago, he did a video exposing that thief, just incredible PJ Polacco, right? And he brought me up because PJ Polacco had ripped me off. If you guys remember, Just Incredible and I had a steel cage match on GTS Wrestling. It was awesome. It was exciting. And then what happened? The next time he was supposed to appear, I sent him his money, and he didn't show up, and then he never gave the money back, and then he blocked me, and then I wound up confronting him. A lot of lore to this story. But when he talked to Maven, of course, he lied, because that's what he's going to do. So Maven brings me up on his show and says, hey, give Grim some credit. Give Grim some slack. You just accepted Just Incredible's lies. So I want to see what Maven has to say here, because a million people have sent me this video. So how about me and you watch it right now, and we find out what this bald bastard has to say.
My next lie comes courtesy of the Joe Cronin Show in
Joe
a video
Cronin.
he titled
He sucks.
Maven and Just Incredible Lie. Let's see what he has to say.
And you know what pisses me off about Maven here is sucking his dick. And Maven,
Thanks for the edits, Joe.
I'm going to call out Maven.
Maven.
I'm sorry. You know what? I am going to call out Maven. I'm going to do this. Maven's channel has been phenomenal. I have absolutely loved it over the last few years. I love Maven and what he's done. I now subscribe to Maven, and I appreciate all his videos, his insights.
I feel a butt coming here.
But I'm going to call him a coward here a little bit, because this is his friend, and he's letting PJ here run over Grimm's Toy Show.
Valid.
Michael
Thank
S.
you,
said
Joe.
he's done this before to GTS Wrestling. Took the man's money and never showed.
Jerry
Then
Travolta.
blocked Grimm.
Michael
What is
Sanchez.
GTS Wrestling?
Oh, that's some backyard wrestling shit. And this sucker is a mark, and I worked for his backyard federation for free.
No.
And then when I wouldn't do something or other, he got mad at me.
Then he got mad.
Yeah.
I can't even believe that Maven has never heard of Grimm, by the way. That's bizarre. But
Thank you.
I haven't. Before this, I'd never heard of Grimm. His channel shows, I just never have. I got as far removed from wrestling for a time in my life as I could. Remember, just because I'm not in your world doesn't mean I'm necessarily wrong. And that's in no way, shape, or form anything negative towards Grimm or what Grimm does or is trying to do.
this guy, your buddy here, was paid money, more money from Grimm's fat divorced ass than most other wrestling companies would pay him. And it was a bit of a outlaw backyard mud show TV. It's a YouTube series. And you just let it get buried here because you don't understand it.
No, I let it get buried because I just didn't know it. It's that simple. I'm not going to stand up for something that I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not going to back something that I'm just not 100% sure exactly what it is that they do.
And just to be perfectly clear, in
Extra
no
piece.
way am I condoning or excusing Justin for scamming Grimm. He alone is 100% in the wrong.
Always get everything in writing, guys. If you're going to work with a promoter, anybody out there, you're going to work with anybody, send an email. Hey, just wanted to make sure.
I'm going to give him credit. He's 100% accurate here, and something I wish I instituted years ago when I started doing, whether it be signings or anything. But the real reason it saddens
clear.
me is because I recognize just how fleeting second chances truly are.
You know what bothers me is that you didn't say this to his face. So I understand. He wants to be nice, get his point of view. then go do some investigating, and then come up with his own conclusion. It sounds like he really didn't know, but I find that like hard to believe. This type of video has been done for 15 years on Just Incredible.
I went into my interview with Justin with blinders on. I went into that interview as Justin's friend. I wanted to give Justin a second chance. Hell, I still do. I wanted Justin to see that there's hope out here. There's an avenue, there's a platform for storytelling, for telling your story. I probably did upset some people that know the real Justin, that have been swindled or taken for a ride by the real Just Incredible. And my apologies to Joe and whoever saw our video with PJ and wished I would have went a little bit harder at him. In hindsight, it was probably necessary.
Okay, so wait, I didn't get an apology, or did I? He said he is apologizing to Joe and I guess anybody involved. So I guess I sort of roundabout got an apology. I honestly low-key think Maven does know who I am and ain't a fan. You know, and then that's why he's kind of like tiptoeing around it. Like, yeah, okay, Justin was garbage, but I'm not going to defend Grimm because Grimm's garbage too. Like, I get that feeling from Maven. Do you? Let me know in the comments. Like, do you feel like Maven is just low-key not a fan? Like, maybe Maven is like low-key a hater of me? Because that's how I feel. I feel like, okay, he made that first video and I made my answer to it video. Right? And again, I'm fine with it because I feel like everybody really knows that Just Incredible's garbage and that he rips people off. It's like, it's out there. It's known. It's not a secret. And he still does work with some people. You know? But he ripped me off and he ripped off many others. And we're trying to get that word out. And Maven is instead covering for Justin and burying me. And people are pissed. We're people. So why don't we all get the word out to Maven? I mean, I was in his comment section of that video. But let's all get that word out to Maven and say, yo, Maven, why don't you talk to Grimm about what happened with Just Incredible? I mean, if you care, if you want to do an update on, you know, sometimes people will do updates on their stories. You know, maybe he does an update video and says, let's update on some of the things I talked about. I talked with Grimm. Me and Grimm sat down. You know, I'll sit down with Maven. I'll have him here. We could do it over a podcast interview, you know, whatever. We could do it in person. I would love to sit and tell him the real story with the real receipts, because I still have all the screenshots. I still have all the text messages, all the exchanges between me and Justin. I'll put it out there. But that's the thing. I don't think Maven wants me to put it out there because it's damning. And he did say, look, I'm not going to be sitting here and defending Just Incredible. He was completely wrong. Well, do you want to show how wrong he was? Or are we just going to keep sweeping it under the rug? You know, and for Just Incredible to call me the chicken sucker, to call me fat Mark, like, you know, runs a backyard fed and that he did it for free. Like, no, dude, no. Just Incredible wouldn't do anything for free for anybody, let alone me. Okay, number one. That's where it's like the first... Just like Maven should have said, wait, you wrestled for him for free? But then he gave you money, and then he's claiming you stole it. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, call out the holes in the Swiss cheese, bro. Like, that's where I feel like Maven failed. And Maven, I'm going to say, you failed in that. You not only failed me, you don't owe me shit. That's valid. You don't know me. You don't know what I'm about. You said that. But you failed your audience, Maven. You know why? Because you don't have to defend me. You don't have to be in my corner. You don't have to be a fan of mine. But if you're going to go out there and call somebody on their bullcrap, call them on their bullcrap. It's not, I'm going to kind of low-key call you out on your bullcrap while I sweep it under the rug and defend you. Because that's what I feel like you did, Maven. I feel like it was more of a, let's protect Just Incredible. Let's defend Just Incredible more than let's call out Just Incredible, you know? And you got to be honest with it. I mean, we're all workers here. I'm a wrestler too, Maven. I wrestle, I work, and I have a whole other channel, GTS Wrestling, on the Silly Super Pop YouTube channel, where I wrestle and I work my audience with stories and drama, and we make it feel as real as possible. And sometimes it is real, and sometimes it's just a story. But the point is to get your audience to believe a certain narrative. It's the point of any media. And I just feel like Maven took the route of making the audience feel the narrative that I'm just a fat mark, and that me getting ripped off was like no big deal. It's like killing an ant. Like, oh, you killed 1,000 ants. Like, who cares? They're ants. Like, that's the way it felt. And that's why I'm upset about it, because it's like, oh, you ripped off this backyard wrestling federation. Like, we're not a backyard wrestling federation. You know, YouTube Wrestling Figures Heavyweight Championship, GTS Wrestling, is the longest running, biggest brand that's ever graced this platform. We're not just some backyard wrestlers. You know, MJF started on my show. Platinum Max. The women's champion, Chris Statlander, wrestled on my show. The AEW women's champion, Chris Statlander, wrestled on my show before she really wrestled anywhere. Okay? So, Robbie E., Robert Stone, Tito Santana, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Gigi Dolan, James Ellsworth, The Blue Meanie. God, there's so many names that have come through my show, just to name a few. Just incredible. He wrestled me in a steel cage match. To me, Mark, okay? To me, growing up, I wanted to be in ECW, okay? I really did. Like, when I was like 15, 16, 17 years old, I wanted to be in ECW. I said, WWE, those guys look like big and crazy, and it was like, you know, the Hulk Hogan stuff. I didn't know if I was ever good enough for that. I'm not tall. At the time, I grow taller. I'm 6 foot now, but at the time, I was only 5'10". And I was like, I get killed by these big dudes. But I could wrestle like Rey Mysterio in ECW. I could wrestle like Spike Dudley in ECW because I was a smaller person. So I want to be in ECW. So for me to grow up and have a successful YouTube wrestling show, and to get to wrestle Just Incredible on my successful YouTube wrestling show in a steel cage as the payoff for a big story, and put myself over, yeah, Mark. Like, yeah, I'm a Mark. Look at Mark Grimm. Like, Mark behavior, sure, okay. But the coolest part about that was the fact that, yeah, that got to happen. I got to, Just Incredible at the time was awesome. Just Incredible now's garbage. And I feel Maven is protecting his ass rather than burying his ass. I would love the opportunity to talk to Maven. And again, you know, no heat. I'm not going to yell at the guy. We're not going to fight. I'm not mad at him. You know, I was just disappointed in the way that I feel he was protecting a friend. Kind of like the cops. You know, a cop does something shitty and all the other cops try to cover for him. And it's like, no, the cop was shitty and should answer for the bullshit that he did. That's just the way I feel about it. Okay, let's move on to something else real quick. Because tomorrow night in Baltimore, if you guys are in Baltimore, you want to pull up, I am taking on former WWE star Enzo Amore. And as I'm saying, oh, I'm just some backyard mark. I'm wrestling Enzo Amore tomorrow in a tables match. How you doing? Okay, like that's a big deal. In Baltimore, right outside of the shadow of Raymond James Stadium. That's a big deal. And again, it's got zero media attention. You know, nobody cares. I mean, maybe something crazy will happen. Maybe it'll get picked up. I'll send it over to my buddy Sean Ross Sapp, and maybe he can post about it on Fightful. I don't know, but I think it's a cool opportunity, and I think that's way beyond backyard wrestling, Mark. And I hope you guys can either pull up and see it in person, or, yeah, of course, there's going to be a video on Silly Super Pop, and I hope you guys are there to check that out. The other thing I wanted to talk about, which is awesome, is JJ Escobar, my buddy JJ Escobar, who is from POR Wrestling and Stunts, and he's also been on GTS Wrestling multiple times. Most notably, I can remember the pumpkin match. I got itch my ear. He was on Beavis and Butthead. And to me, you guys know I'm old, man. I grew up with Beavis and Butthead. When Beavis and Butthead first came out, I was a teenager too. Me and Doo-Hop were Beavis and Butthead. Me and Doo-Hop are still Beavis and Butthead. yeah. And it's like, you know, you want to make it to WWE, you want to make it to ECW, wherever you want it to be. I never once thought to myself, I want to make it to Beavis and Butthead. Again, because I didn't play music. That was the only way I ever thought I'd be on Beavis and Butthead. They reviewed music videos. But now they review YouTube videos. And they're watching POR. And they're going, yeah, kick his ass, yeah. Like, oh my God, dude, I was losing it. It was such a good segment. It was so funny. And I'm so proud of JJ. I texted him privately and I said, yo, JJ, to me, dead ass, making it to Beavis and Butthead is cooler than making it to WWE. Making it to AEW. I know a lot of people who've made it to WWE and AEW. They put in the work. They did the traveling. You know, they went from nobody to superstar. MJF, for example. But JJ made it to Beavis and Butthead. Beavis and freaking Butthead. That is incredible. What an accomplishment. Low-key jealous. I high-key jealous. I don't know how to say it. That's fucking cool. But you know what? The one thing about me is I'll, number one, admit it. That is cool. Number two, I'm going to clap for my friends. You want to know why? If you don't clap for your friends, it's never going to be your turn, man. I can sit here and be sour. I can sit here and cry and say, it should have been GTS. We're longer. We're more popular. I'm not going to cry about it. That ain't going to get me anywhere bitching and moaning. If I want to get on Beavis and Butthead for my backyard wrestling, for my YouTube show, for whatever, like, well, then I got to do something worth getting Beavis and Butthead to watch. That guy fell off a goddamn roof. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to make it to WWE. My friends have made it to WWE, and I didn't. I clap for them and talk about how proud I am of them. I don't sit here and say, oh, it should have been me, it should have been me. Bro, I didn't put in the work. Look at this fat gut. I ain't going to be on WWE like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, clap for your friends or it'll never be your time. You know, like, everybody can win. Everybody can win. Nobody is the champion forever. It doesn't rain forever. Nothing's permanent. You know, your friend can make it to WWE and then he could be fired in 3 years. You know, and he's back to a normal person. So I always clap for my friends, no matter what they accomplish. Like right now, like Casey Navarro on TNA. Like, how cool is that? You know, he's been on NXT. Like, how cool is that? He's out hurt right now, or he'd probably be in this angle, and it's probably killing him sitting at home, saying, "Man, I wish I could be part of this NXT versus TNA invasion angle." I think I got hurt. Jordan Oliver's out there making noise. You know, a lot of our former GTS stars or people that have appeared on my show at some point are really doing awesome things in wrestling, and I will always stand here and clap for them and root on their success, because my goal, like I said, was never to actually make it to WWE. My goal was to be on ECW, which went away. And then that's why my show, I said, you know what? I still don't think I'm cut out for WWE. I don't wrestle like Logan Paul, bro. Logan Paul's got... Logan Paul makes it look easy. I ain't Logan Paul. I never had that. I said, I'm a good talker. I'm a good worker. I'm a good trash talker. I was never... Bro, you ever see Grim chain wrestle? No, I fight. I'm a brawler. It's what I do. So I couldn't make it to ECW. So what do? I make my own show, GTS. And it's just like ECW. It's like old school WWE. It's like old school ECW. And that's what I love about my show. So guys, I just, like, that's my point, is I just want everyone to understand that you want to accomplish something in life, you got to put in the work, you got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort. Sometimes things just happen for you, you know, and you can always root for your friends, but have friends that root for you. If you accomplish something and you look back and your friends are not clapping, they are not your friends. I promise you that. You know, so look out for yourselves. Take care of yourselves. You know, you want something, put in the work. And put yourself over. Put yourself over. Why would you let someone else date the girl that you want? Put yourself over. Why would you let someone else have that dream job that you want? Put yourself over. MJF said always bet on yourself. Well, Grim says always put yourself over. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, tap the bell, turn on the notifications. And if you're not down with that, I got 3 words for you. Eat it. Yeah.